Hello and welcome to Talk Motivation with your host Elvis Eckardt, former pro athlete turned business owner, motivating you to achieve personal growth, form new habits, and find happiness in your career and life. Without further ado, let's jump right into today's episode.
Hello everybody, believe it or not, but I'm still Elvis Eckardt and your host of Talk Motivation. You probably wondered or not where I've been, as it has been a couple of months since the last show. So what happened? Well, life happened. I've been busy with a couple of projects, I grew my company, I contracted COVID over the new year and, well, time has just been limited, to be honest with you. Having said that, I'm super glad you joined us on this week's show. I started the podcast when we first went into isolation here in the UK in April 2020 and really enjoy bringing episodes to you which give you, well, hopefully some food for thought. Make sure to visit our website www.elvis-eckert.com/podcast where you can subscribe to the show on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts and other sources so you never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, I'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would be much appreciated too. So, what can you expect from episode 13? For near enough the past year, the world has been in a state of shock really. The global and local economy has been down, unemployment levels rose like crazy, depression is on the rise too, unprecedented times. You probably can't hear these two words anymore. Well, I can't. As a human race, we've seen plagues and pandemics throughout the ages. The Spanish flu, the bubonic plague. We can go all the way back to the biblical plagues. Through all of these, one thing that remained true is that we've come back from every single one of them. As a human race, we have become more resilient than we have been before. But this isn't true for every person or every business. You might have heard the concept adversity breeds innovation. Well, this is only half the truth in my opinion. Yes, adversity can certainly breed innovation. We're witnessing this every day with the new and adapted services emerging from local and global companies. The unfortunate truth is though, adversity can also breed stagnation. We have seen this with businesses that aren't able to quickly adapt and pivot. And sadly, they are most likely the ones we won't see on the other side of this pandemic. Today, I want to talk about 6 different ways which can help tackle and maybe even help overcome adversity. The first one being to learn from adversity. Winston Churchill famously said, "Success is going from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm." Well, his life was littered with disappointments, wasn't it? He still made it through though. After all, he was the dominant personality of the last century. But why so? Because he understood that setbacks are mandatory, really, when we pursue a bright triumph. What set him apart was his incredible grit. To Churchill, anything was possible. Victory was always at hand. Remember his words at Harrow, "Never give in," he told students, "never give in, never, 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 never." Expect some dry spells along the way, dark hours even. Let's face it, all are certain and we sure can learn from them. Expect some dry spells and just move on. The second way I'd like to talk about is to fashion a new dream. Now, what do I mean with that? Oftentimes, it's necessary to recalibrate your dreams. Corporate heavyweights, for example, inevitably make mistakes. New competitors emerge. New technologies and consumer habits disrupt established practices in unseen ways. When things begin to spiral downward, successful folks make the appropriate corrections. The alternative to crime-encrusted lenses isn't rose-tinted glasses. It's a healthy dose of reality. My third pointer is to sell your vision. A famous Confucius quote says that a leader must be a dealer in hope. Leaders who can illuminate the darkness are experts at restoring people's faith in the future, especially the faith of talented people who have run into brick walls. Even if you're the only person running your business, you have customers and clients, you have vendors, you have subcontractors, and they need to see your vision. One of my mentors once said that the golden core of leadership is the ability to raise aspirations. Let me repeat that. The golden core of leadership is the ability to raise aspirations. Transition is an ideal time to do so. Fearless adventurers like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, they are unflagging optimists. In many respects, they are a special species of leaders because they are delusional. They're not as good as they think they are, but they have the confidence to pursue big things. So tune out your inner cynic and second guesser who says you can't beat the odds. Don't let that naughty pessimist rob you from pursuing and capturing your dreams.
You are listening to Talk Motivation, the podcast where you get your weekly dose of motivation. Now back to your host, Elvis Eckardt.
Welcome to part 2 of this show. In part 1, I looked at 3 different ways which can help tackle and maybe even help overcome adversity. In part 2, we want to look at the other 3. My fourth point is to share your dream. Build alliances and keep good company. Create a brain trust of people you can call on in tough times, in dark hours. Share your dreams. Trust them and don't doubt them. The fifth point is to focus. Make life as simple as possible. Focus on what you know you can do, know what you're capable of, and what you can count on. Do the simple things well, and then use that confidence to forge your own bright triumph. Back to basics, back to your roots. Find that authenticity switch. Learn to differentiate between what is truly important and what can be dealt with at another time. Zero in on the end game. Anything is possible, but it all starts with having a dream and sticking with it through thick and thin. Don't just let a few potholes in the road destroy your confidence. My last point, which is probably the most important, is to start now. Hit that action button. Teddy Roosevelt said that the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing. Nada. Well, he didn't say nada. That was just me adding it to make my point. Let those new ideas take root and explore them. Yesterday's assumptions are, well, yesterday's. It's in the word. And please don't rely on what made you successful, but no longer works. The worst baggage we can carry is the baggage from a successful past. Set goals that are specific and attainable. Then break them down into manageable pieces, one step at a time. In the process, passing each milestone builds confidence and creates a momentum for you. Self-confidence, in turn, develops much like a coral reef. Layer on layer compresses into a solid base. I want to finish this week's episode with the favorite slogan of the US Navy SEALs. The only easy day was yesterday. To put it in other words, tomorrow can become better than today. And on this note, I want to finish this week's episode. Thanks for listening to Talk Motivation. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please share the love and let your network know about it. Thank you so much for making this one of your favorite podcasts. Please do go, subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes because it does help others to find the show, or better yet, just tell your family, friends and acquaintances about it. Everyone really who loves a bit of positivity. Feel free to also connect with me on LinkedIn and we can take the conversation there.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Talk Motivation with your host, Elvis Eckardt. To listen to this episode again and to find previous episodes, search Talk Motivation on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts. Sayonara, muchachos!